Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily news updates with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari addresses the nation on the End SARS protests that have been rocking the country for the past 2 weeks. Guinea's President Alpha Condé appears to be leading Sunday's presidential polls. South Africa sets up a National Economic Recovery Council to ensure the implementation of its economic recovery plan. Our top story today: Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday evening addressed the nation on the anti-police brutality protests that have rocked the country in recent days.
On Monday, 12th October, I acknowledge the genuine concerns and agitations of members of the public regarding the excessive use of force by some members of SARS. I would like to appeal to protesters to note and take advantage of the various well-thought-out initiatives of this administration designed to make their lives better and more meaningful, and resist the temptation of being used by some subversive elements to cause chaos with the aim of truncating our nascent democracy.
Tens of thousands of young Nigerians have been taking to the streets over the past 2 weeks to not only protest against police brutality, but to demand social change from the government. The nationwide protests, however, turned violent and escalated on Tuesday in Lagos. According to Amnesty International, at least 12 protesters were shot dead by security forces during a crackdown on demonstrations that left many injured.
I am indeed deeply pained that innocent lives have been lost. These tragedies are uncalled for and unnecessary. Certainly, there is no way whatsoever to connect these bad acts to legitimate expression of grievance of the youth of our country.
The alleged shooting reportedly took place shortly after the authorities imposed a curfew in Lagos and other regions, after protests spiraled dramatically, with violence being reported in several cities.
The result of this is clear to all observers. Human lives have been lost, acts of sexual violence have been reported, 2 major correctional facilities were attacked and convicts freed, public and private properties completely destroyed or vandalized.
After several days of widespread unrest in the country, the president urged protesters not to undermine national security and to leave the streets, assuring them that their voices have been heard.
Resist the temptation of being used by some subversive elements to cause chaos with the aim of truncating our nascent democracy. For you to do otherwise will amount to undermining national security and the law and order situation. Under no circumstances will this be tolerated. I therefore call on our youth to discontinue the street protests and constructively engage government in finding solutions. Your voice has been heard loud and clear, and we are responding. I call on all Nigerians to go about their normal businesses and to enjoin security agencies to protect lives and properties of all law-abiding citizens without doing harm to those they are meant to protect. Let me pay tribute to officers of the Nigeria Police Force who have tragically lost their lives in the line of duty. To our neighbors in particular, and members of the international community, many of whom have expressed concern about the ongoing development in Nigeria, we thank you and urge you all to seek to know all the facts available before taking a position or rushing to judgment and making hasty pronouncements.
President Buhari said that it had become necessary to address the country, having heard from many concerned citizens and after concluding a meeting with all security chiefs. In Guinea, preliminary results released on Thursday by the Electoral Commission show incumbent Alpha Condé as the winner in the first round of Sunday's presidential election, in which he ran for a controversial third term. With 37 of 38 electoral districts counted, the 82-year-old leader reportedly received 2.4 million votes versus 1.26 million for his longtime rival, Cellou Dalein Diallo. The opposition candidate has, however, claimed victory in the presidential election. His camp has accused the government of large-scale fraud in counting ballots and said it had evidence of electoral fraud. The final results of the controversial presidential election are expected to be announced on Saturday. In Eastern Africa, the Prime Minister of Mozambique, Agostinho do Rosario, on Thursday addressed the issue of displaced people in the troubled northernmost Cabo Delgado province.
The displaced are a consequence of the terrorist attacks in Cabo Delgado, and at this moment we are here to assess the contingency plan for this rainy season. What to do so that there is no loss of lives and goods in our country.
The Mozambican authorities have been fighting against an Islamist insurgency that broke out in the north of the country 3 years ago, forcing people to flee their homes.
About the situation in Cabo Delgado, we cannot give exactly what the predicted numbers are in terms of displacement. Day after day, we feel that the number tends to increase, and this increase, in fact, may in one way or another change what our daily, weekly or monthly program is in terms of forecasting what the numbers of displaced people would be.
According to the United Nations, over 300,000 people have fled their homes, seeking refuge in safer parts of Cabo Delgado and neighboring provinces since the first attack in 2017 by the Islamist insurgent group Al-Shabaab, tied to the Islamic State. In Kenya, Deputy President William Ruto is making headlines in his country for being sidelined by his political allies in what analysts claim is a calculated move ahead of the 2022 presidential election. The deputy president urged Kenyan leaders to avoid politics of tribalism as he was attending a fundraising event last week in the city of Nyamira.
It is good for me to tell fellow leaders to stop the politics of balkanizing Kenyans. There is no visitor. There is no guest. Every Kenyan is at home in any part of Kenya, and no Kenyan is a visitor or a guest in any part of Kenya.
Ruto's relevance has been dwindling since the unexpected March 2018 pact between President Kenyatta and Odinga that eased political tensions and took center stage in the State House. On the economic front, South Africa's cabinet approved on Thursday the establishment of the National Economic Recovery Council to ensure the implementation of the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan recently announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa. President Ramaphosa will chair the council, which will be composed of the deputy president and other ministers who will meet monthly, according to the minister in the presidency, Jackson Tembu. The council will also interface with the social partners in the national economic development. The minister added that the recovery plan required all sectors to work together to rebuild the country's economy, starting with the infrastructure, energy sector and job creation. In Ghana, the death toll in the collapse of a 3-story church building in the east of the country rose to 21 this Friday, upping the toll from 17 dead on Thursday, as more bodies were pulled from the rubble. According to rescue officials, 12 women and 9 men were killed in the collapse of the Church of Prosperity on Tuesday in the city of Ekiambatabi, shortly after the worshippers had concluded a prayer meeting. One of the survivors told the local press that about 60 people were inside the building when it came down. The causes of the incident are still unknown, but the church's founder, Prophet Isaac Ofori, popularly known as Okoa Isaac, is reportedly assisting the police with the investigation. In Egypt, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities inaugurated on Tuesday a new bus service for tourists visiting the Giza pyramids as part of tourism development.
There are more than 30 electric buses and VIP electric cars. They are all environmentally friendly. We don't want any major change of pollution. By using electric buses, the bus can park 10 meters away from the pyramids, so we are saving our antiquities. We were supposed to open the project of developing the Giza Plateau by the end of this year, but because of COVID-19, which affects tourism and the export of materials, we postponed the full opening by 6 months. So, by the mid of 2021, this mega project by the government will cost 550 million Egyptian pounds in addition to the bus service and other services.
An environmentally friendly restaurant called the 9 Pyramids Lounge also opened its doors directly in front of the pyramids for the plateau's visitors' greatest pleasure. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.